Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Black Ops 4 In Depth. In today's episode, I want to talk about the top 5 guns for low levels. A lot of you are just getting the game, and some of you have real jobs, school, class, and other responsibilities that may have prevented you from being a sweaty boy and prestiging all the way up, or maybe you're watching around Christmas time or later. So I wanted to give you the best advice that I can on which weapons you should use at low levels and which ones will work best at those levels. This isn't obviously the best guns in the game, because a lot of those you get later, but these are the ones that you should spend your time on when you're just starting out. First up today, I strongly recommend the ICR-7 assault rifle. It is the very first assault rifle unlocked in the game, and it's one that I will probably be using for a long time, even though it is the first unlock. The ICR has a lot of very nice things about it, and mostly it's just very easy to use. It has super low recoil, very clear iron sights, so you don't need optics if you don't want them, or just unlocking the optics is super easy. There's nothing complicated or difficult about the ICR. It is just built for new players to use, but it's surprisingly good in the damage department. So DPS overall in this weapon is lacking because it doesn't shoot very fast, but its damage per shot is much higher than you would think at 37, so you can chunk people unexpectedly with the ICR, especially if you squeeze in some headshots, and that's why I think it is a much higher tier weapon than its sort of rank 1 unlock would make you think it is. Another fun thing about this one is that you unlock all the attachments you need really quickly. I mean, all you really need on this gun is quick draw, FMJ, and optics are kind of optional. I think they're nice since it's such a precision weapon and you can put on thermal or any sort of range or whatever, but most people are going to go red dot, and that works great. Grip and foregrip, almost completely useless since it's a laser anyway. The Spitfyre SMG is going to be my second recommendation today. Now this one you will unlock later into the lower levels, which for the sake of this episode I'm going to cap at about 30. The experience gain is non-linear, so it'll take you a lot longer to go from 30 to 55 than it will from 1 to 30. And in the higher 20s you're going to unlock the Spitfyre. This is the new Scorpion from Black Ops 2 or Vesper from Black Ops 3. This is your high rate of fire bullet hose SMG, and it works fantastically in multiplayer. Basically everything about the Spitfyre is trash except that it shoots at 1100 RPM. Trash recoil, trash reload, trash magazine, trash damage, trash ballistics, trash everything. But my goodness, it shoots so incredibly fast. The best way to use it is just get up close to people and take advantage of your superior DPS. Very few weapons in this game can compete with the Spitfire's DPS. You can use it like a shotgun if you want to, as long as you have laser sight, and it works fantastically. If you level it up and put the wildfire mod on, God help us all, then the DPS just goes pure bananas. It shoots like 1400 RPM. My third recommendation today is one that I think is going to be a bit more controversial and takes a bit more work, and that's the Rampart assault rifle. This is the second one that you unlock. It turns a lot of people off because it shoots kind of slow and it kicks a bit, but it does have some very nice properties. Most notably, it has very high damage for assault rifles. If I'm not mistaken, it's the highest damage per shot assault rifle in the class, so you chunk people really hard every time you hit them. You unlock FMJ early on, so armored users aren't a big deal, and the overall DPS on this weapon isn't that great or amazing until you unlock High Caliber 2. What High Caliber 2 does is gives you extra damage for headshots and that same extra damage for hitting people in the upper chest, and once you've got High Caliber 2, the Rampart shreds. Its time to kill gets cut drastically, its DPS goes way up, and it becomes a downright murder machine. To be fair, it will take a long time to level it up to get that, as the leveling tends to be quite slow in this game, but very worth it if you want to start early on. I will say the recoil and predictability leave much to be desired. It will definitely take some work to get used to the kick, to get those guaranteed head or upper body shots to kill people quickly. It takes a little bit of mastery, but if you're a good player, it won't be that hard. Number 4 on the list today is one that probably not a lot of people are using, and that's the Hades LMG. Not so much for Blackout, but at least for multiplayer, I find the Hades to be a very underrated weapon. It's almost a hybrid weapon because it sits very neatly between a traditional light machine gun, like say the Titan or the VKM, and an assault rifle. It has good DPS, maybe not the best DPS, but good DPS. The recoil is okay, it's kind of average, but it does have a huge magazine that reloads reloads pretty quickly for a light machine gun. It has better handling than most light machine guns, so you can hip fire better, aim down sights better, run faster, reload faster. It sits between LMGs and rifles in a very, very good way, and it's kind of like, hey, if you want a rifle that's got a ridiculous magazine and maybe a little better range, just pick the Hades and it'll perform fantastic for you. The other thing about the Hades is that it's hilarious when you level it all the way up and get its operator mod attachment. That's called the crossbar, and what it does is makes the Hades hip fire only, and when you aim down sights it just tightens up the hip fire, but you can strafe like super fast like you have Stalker Pro or something, and it becomes identical to the chainsaw from Call of Duty Ghosts, which is not a traditionally great weapon, but it does surprise people and it is hilarious. But the base version has pretty good hip fire anyway, and you can put a laser sight on there if you want to. My final recommendation on my top 5 today is again the first weapon you're going to unlock, because you don't unlock that many weapons, especially not that many good ones at lower levels, and it's the MX9 submachine gun. I was kind of 50-50 on putting this one on the list because its best attribute is that it's just easy to use and understand. The MX9 is not the best SMG, but it is an SMG in all the ways that an SMG is. High rate of fire, close quarters combat, good hip fire, pretty good reload, really good handling. It kicks a little bit, but not too much. You can sometimes map people if you have good aim, but it's disadvantaged against assault rifles. This is SMG the SMG, like Elfo the Elf from Disenchanted. It's so incredibly easy to understand, and it doesn't put you at too big of a disadvantage, though I do think it is really the best gun overall. There are much better SMGs you get later, just not early on. I do want to drop 2 honorable mentions here near the end of the episode. Number 1 is the default Swordfish PENTABURST class. So in just the default classes, you can get the Swordfish, which is the last tactical rifle you unlock, with the operator mod already on it, with a suppressor, with a sight, with a lot of good stuff. And this thing just downright shreds. I got pooped on by the Doom clan on launch day. I can pick it and use it really easily. It's an incredibly strong gun that you would normally get at much later levels after a lot of grinding, but the default class gives it to you early, and I found that a lot of players are very comfortable just using that default class all the way through a Prestige. Secondly, the HELLION rocket launcher. It gets rid of UAVs, counter UAVs, helicopters, sniper nests, pretty much everything. It comes with a lot of attachments all the way from increased damage to faster lock-on, which I think is super useful. Fast reloads, extra mags. There's nothing like clearing all the garbage out of the sky. You can also use it to shoot any sort of obstruction. You can shoot those big annoying barricades, the razor wire, and most of the specialist abilities can just get put down with the HELLION rocket launcher. So I think it's always worth having one slot open for this to get you some guaranteed air control. Guys, that is it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.